Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We have the pleasure of sitting down with Justin Tucker today. And Justin, I don't know if you remember this, but you were the very first guest we ever had on the lounge, number one. And today is our 500th episode, right?
I'm honored.
Milestone, right? Well, that's the next question. When you look back on your career years from now, you're talking to the grandkids and you're talking about career achievements and honors. Where will this rank for you?
The top.
The top, I know. Super Bowl is nice. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the lounge.
Future Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
But
The lounge. By the way, is one of the rules of the lounge, do I have to...
you got to cross your legs.
Have to.
Is it left over right today?
You can
Yeah,
go
we
either
gotta be-
way.
we
I
gotta
like to
be
mix it
either-
up.
I'm going to go right over left.
Sometimes
Okay,
my
there you
foot falls asleep, so I have to mix it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, guys.
So, let's start by talking about your 60-yarder on Saturday night. Got to start there. I mean, that was a bomb. Any chance that could have been good from 67, you think?
I mean, there's no way of knowing, I suppose, but
Yeah.
I definitely got some leg into it, and the ball was definitely carrying.
Yeah.
Tyler threw a perfect snap, and he's come in and done a great job replacing Nick. We're going to miss Nick this season, but Tyler's come in, worked his tail off, done a really good job getting up to speed with what we like to do and how we like to do things. Jordan's evolved as a, not just a punter, but as a holder as well. So, on a kick that long, everything kind of has to go perfectly.
Yeah.
And, those guys made it to where my job is much simpler. I just kick the ball as hard as I can. And, it needed to go 60 yards. Maybe it could have gone farther, but
Definitely could have.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it barely made it over.
Yeah, I mean, it had some room to spare.
Yeah, it has some room to spare.
Is there any, do you at all measure exit velocity? In baseball, it's become a big thing, the exit velocity of a hit. Is there any measurement on that? Do you kind of know how far kicks could have gone or whatever?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I know there's all of this next gen stats and analytics and all of this stuff that can measure all of these or you can get a gauge on all these very particular stats. I know on Sunday Night Football they have the kick tracer thing that shows the ball would have probably been good from this far away.
Right.
It split the uprights at this angle or whatever it may be. We have these devices that we wear on, Jordan and I will wear just in our sock, kind of in a little roll of tape that measures your leg speed. And it kind of, it's kind of like a load management type of measuring device to, the idea is to ensure that you're not, swing your leg too much, or if you're a quarterback, you're not, throwing too much, or what. It's kind of to give you a pitch count.
Okay. Yeah.
But one of the, I guess, extra benefits from using that device is you can get these, kind of cool numbers and stats, for how fast your leg is swinging. We also used to have something called the TrackMan, which, it's a device that you can use for golf, kicking footballs, but you place this device behind the football, maybe 8 to 10 yards from where I set up a kick. And then you can see, you can actually measure all of those things that you're talking about, exit velocity, swing speed, smash factor at impact.
Yeah.
We had that device that somebody was gathering that data and using it for whatever, but I actually choose not to. This is all to say, I choose...
I bet you hate this stuff.
Exactly. Actually, yes. I choose to completely disregard any of the, extra stats or the next-gen stats, because the only one that actually matters is whether or not the kick went through.
Right.
And, I know when I strike the ball, I know from the time it snapped, oh yeah, I'm smashing this. This is going.
Oh, really?
This is going exactly where I want it. I see the ball, I see the sweet spot of the ball, and I strike it, and the feeling is usually pretty instantaneous. It's yeah, that was a good kick.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then when it goes through, then I know it's a good kick, and everyone else also knows.
Right.
And that's one of the things I love about my job description is it's very black and white. The kicks are either good or they're not.
Right.
All of that data gathering technology, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I just don't I
You don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
I just want to see the ball go through the yellow things.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So when you're at this stage of your career, you've had a ton of success, and you've established yourself as the best kicker ever. And I know that you just got to continue, obviously, to do that, to, I guess, wear that crown, whatever that looks like.
The funny thing is you don't actually get a crown.
You don't get a crown. No, at the end of your career, they send you the crown, and then if someone else surpasses you, then you send it to somebody
That's
else.
for angry
really
runs. That's the scepter.
Yeah.
And
The scepter.
I don't
Yeah,
know
the
if you're
scepter.
gonna get any angry runs. I mean, maybe that'd be sweet.
You never know.
That would be sweet.
You did run in Super Bowl.
Yeah, I should have
was
been more
angry on the
angry.
other one.
It was angry.
You-
I was the recipient of
You were the
anger,
recipient.
and I got crushed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good times.
Do you like, how much is that something that you think about? Like the idea of being the best kicker to ever play the game, and is that a goal, a focus that you think about on a regular basis?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but I think about it more as like we have made a lot of kicks around here. Whether it was Morgan and Sam and myself, or Pat Scales and Kevin McDermott, or Nick Moore, or Tyler Ott and Jordan Stout. In coordination with Jerry Rosberg and Randy Brown and Chris Horton and Sam Cook again.
Yeah.
Now on the coaching side. It's never been in my mind. It's never been I go out there and I make the kicks. It's always we make the kicks, and every once in a while I let one get away. So as far as being recognized as the best individually, I'm not really. I could kind of care less about that. I think it's kind of cool, but I think what really motivates me and makes me feel good about my contributions to the team is exactly that, is our team having success, my teammates being lifted and just increased because of my efforts. That's what I hope I can look back on one day, and fans of the Ravens or fans of football, or even the haters out there, but I want them all to look back and say, wow,
That's the city of Detroit. The city of
totally.
Detroit.
They don't like me very much. I
Those are
love
the
Detroit.
only haters you
I
have.
don't think they like me very much, but I want what I think about more is I want everybody to look back on my career and be able to say, that dude, even at the kicker position, he transcended the game in a way that made his team and his teammates and his coaches just a little bit better. I think that's what gets me a little bit more fired up than anything else.
Do you feel that there's a way that you have kind of changed the game of kicking? I mean, 90% is almost like the bar now. Like, so many guys clear 90%. And I feel like you were the leader in doing that year after year after year.
And
Like,
from deep. It's almost like you're like a
Well, yeah.
3-point shooter, like a Steph Curry.
yeah, I guess, like, how do you look at your game in the way that you changed the game, kind of like Sam did? He revolutionized
Totally.
punting. Do you kind of view yourself in a way of like, here's how I made my mark. That's how I'll look back on it,
In a way, yeah, I think it still goes back to us doing it together.
Yeah. You and your
putting-
battery will say how
totally.
you changed the game. Yeah,
Totally. I think about it in terms of we've got to approach, like, the way we elevate the game as a whole is by taking it, one kick at a time. Not even just one season at a time, one game at a time, but not even one practice at a time. Like, every single time I line up a kick in practice after I've got myself kind of warmed up, I make myself go to this mental, place where this is the most important kick I've ever attempted right here, right now. And it's pretty tiring to do that, day in and day out, but it's also, I think, a part of what has made us be really good for a long time and have a high level of consistency is, the approach to the game, not necessarily just the results. I think the results are, I think they speak to how we prepare. So, again, it goes back to like what you were just asking, like, how do we feel like we want to be remembered, or do we think about those things in like the big grandiose terms? It's like, no, I think about it like I'm kind of carrying the torch. I've learned from the the greats to play the game like Sam Cooke, Adam Vinatieri, the greats to coach the game like Jerry Rosberg and Randy Brown and Chris Horton and Harbs. And then, guys that aren't necessarily directly involved in the special teams aspect of the game, but, seeing the approach of a Ray Lewis and an Ed Reed or a Haloti Ngata and Terrell Suggs and Joe Flacco, I could go on and on. I feel like I'm just, helping to move the game along by perpetuating the habits of what greatness looks like.
Yeah.
How do you do that though? Like, how do you get your mind so focused? And like a kicker's job is such routine, right? Like day after day, it's the same. How do you stay that locked in, that focused on every individual kick for this long a period of time?
I don't know, man. You just kind of do. You just kind of have to
trick yourself almost.
Kind of, yeah. Like I know in practice, like this kick is not going to mean we win or lose a game or this game or the Super Bowl, But I try to simulate in my mind like this is where, like I try to create in my mind the scenario that, okay, well, this is a game-winning field goal, down by 2, 47 yards, left hash. Like I need to strike this ball in this way to make this particular kick go through the uprights.
That's all running through your mind as you're stepping back and taking your steps and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you, when you get to double digits in terms of playing this long, do you think about like, how long do you want to play? Do you want to be Adam Vinatieri and kicking in your 40s?
I mean, I just want to go until it's embarrassing for me to be out there. I want to kick until the wheels absolutely fall off. Jordan or whoever happens to be out there with me at that point in time. As long as Steve Bisciotti is willing to let me, rent a jersey from him, if I have to go out there and Jordan's got to help me out onto the field, or I've got to take a walker out there, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go.
I like that
till the bitter end.
I like that.
Ask me that again in 15 years, and
yes,
my
when you're
tune
gray,
may change.
Yeah.
Just be like, man, I'm tired of this. I gotta hang him up. But I'm that is just not even a thought in my mind.
How will till Easton, your son, takes your job?
Yeah, I like that idea.
That would be pretty lit.
That would be sweet.
I think that's what the kid. Are the kids saying that?
Lit? I don't know.
All right. Well, look, we will let Tucker go on that. So we know he's going to be old and gray, and then Easton is going to take his job at that point. LeBron says he wants to play with his kid. That's what we're going to do here in Baltimore. You're going to play with Easton eventually, and he's going to take your job. So, Tuck.
There's no doubt.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, dude.
All right. See ya. All right. Well, welcome back into the SeatGeek studio. Also, we want to give a shout out to our friends at DraftKings. DraftKings is the official sportsbook of the Baltimore Ravens, and it has a limited time offer that you do not want to miss. Here's what you need to do. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use the promo code FLOCK. If you're a new customer, you can get a deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's only at DraftKings Sportsbook, so download it today. Again, the promo code is FLOCK. You got to be over 21 and physically present in Maryland to play. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. So thanks to Tuck for stopping by. I mean, you asked him about routine and focus and habits.
Yeah.
He made sure, we had a limited amount of time. He had to make sure they got to the special teams meeting early, right? He wants to be there on time.
It's true.
And that's one of the reasons we had to squeeze in the interview in a finite amount of time, and he went to the special teams meeting. That's why he's the best. This guy takes even a training camp special teams meeting, he is there ready to go front of the class.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. I had some other questions I wanted to ask him. One interesting thing about him is, he's the only guy remaining from the 2012 Super Bowl team, and he talked about kind of his why, why you continue to do this, as long as he has and at that level and all that. And, he talked a little bit about the bringing another championship back to Baltimore. I mean, I'm sure when you win one as a rookie, you're like, yeah, I'll be back here.
Yeah,
again.
every guy says that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back here again in a year, 2 years, whatever. And now we're 11 years later. I'm sure that drive for him is really big.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think he wants to win a championship. I think it is interesting. I know he was in jest talking about getting taking a walker out to the field to kick field goals, but he wants to do it for a long time, and
Yeah.
like he's showing no signs of slowing down. But I just, it's kind of curious when you get to this stage of your career. It's like, how long do you want to do it?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think he's going to be at the top of his game for the foreseeable future. Like I see no drop off at this point.
Well, the funny thing was that just last week before the preseason opener, Tuck was on podium, and somebody asked Randy Brown, like, at his age, do you start to have questions about Tuck's leg strength? Like, does that become a factor at all in taking some workload off him? And, just how kind of strong is his leg? Then he booms a 60-yard field goal that could have been good for much longer.
Yeah, with plenty of room to spare.
Yeah, that's answered. Don't think we have to worry about Justin Tucker's leg strength.
I mean, I think the only area where that's really showing up is they're reducing the number of kicks that he takes in training camp to some degree. They're not having him boom.
Yeah, but they don't have a second kicker out here right now. But yeah, I mean, Jordan Stout is
the second kicker, but that's the only area where you would say like, oh, there's any sign of this is a guy who's now in double digits in terms of his career. So, it was he's the best, and it's fun to watch him. I think he's and I think his routine is the reason for that. I can tell you from being near him on game days on the sideline sometimes, like he's one of those guys, like you just back away and give him his space because like he's so locked in between kicks. And I think that's one thing that people don't realize.
If you mess with his routine and then he misses a kick, I mean, you're to blame. I mean, let's be quite honest.
Well, here's like the funny thing about him is like people know like he does, like he'll do a dance after a kick and he's known like, the singing or whatever. But like to me, like his focus on game days is as good as like there's the one other guy who really stands out to me in that regard is Marshall Yonda. Like I didn't even want to look at Marshall Yonda on game days. I was like, he's gonna just push me into a wall. I mean, this guy is like.
Didn't his wife even tell us that? She said that she was like on game days. No, he's like at a different level. I don't even.
Yeah, like Tucker reminds me of that. Like,
Mark Andrews.
Andrews is like that all the time. Andrews is always
in the lunchroom.
Yeah. But Tucker reminds me of Marshall in that regard, like that focus, that intensity, that you look in his eyes, it's laser focused. And I just think that stands out to me about him.
One day, that guy, he always talks about the we, not the I.
Yeah.
And so you always want to ask him these questions about him individually. And he
never takes the bait.
No, he always changes them. But one day, so what was going through my mind when we were talking to him is I was like, one day when he's up on that stage in Canton and he's about to give his Hall of Fame speech, he's going to have like his long snappers and his punter, all those guys, the holders, like they'll all be up there with him.
Yeah.
And that's just how it'll go, and he'll talk about that in his speech, that it was always the we.
Yeah.
And, of course he's human. I am 100% sure that he's thought about the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's a human being. Mm-hmm. He sees what's being written, and that he knows he has a chance to be there, and he'd be, I think, the fifth kicker ever in the Hall of Fame. Like I expect that he'll do that one day. And I'm sure he will give credit to those around him, and deservedly so. I mean, they have certainly helped him along the way, but there's no doubt that J Tuck is just the GOAT in and of himself also.
So as we're talking about Hall of Fame, this is our 500th episode. So we want to thank our listeners who have been here from the start.
Yes.
There's a lot of listeners who have been here from the start. So I want to put you on the spot.
Oh.
If you're giving me your Hall of Fame of lounge interviews, your favorite ones that we've done over the course of these 500 episodes, are there any that really stand out to you as your favorites?
I remember one of the earliest ones with Terrell Suggs. I remember being particularly good. I mean, J Tuck on the number one did an impersonation. Do you have that?
Yeah,
You want to play?
We actually pulled up a clip here. This is from the very first episode of Lounge Podcast, and we asked Tucker on that episode we were talking about impressions, because he was doing some impressions at that time.
Yeah.
So we were asking him about, do you have any good ones? What are your favorite impressions? So we went back into the archives. Again, this is from 2016,
2016.
2016 is when we started the Lounge Podcast.
Yeah.
And Tucker was the very first guest. All right, so I want to pull up this clip here from 2016 from episode number 1.
My rookie year for my training camp rookie show, I did Christopher Walken's bit from Catch Me If You Can. Two little mice fell in a bucket of cream. The first mouse, he quickly gave up and he drowned. And that's about all I got.
So what do you think of his Christopher Walken impression?
It'd be pretty great. I wish we had more time with him today. We could have gotten
Some more impressions. You know, it's funny that he did that impression during his rookie talent show. Like that shows, I think one of the things that stands out about Tuck is like from the very first time he stepped onto campus here, like he was not a shrinking violet. Like he was comfortable in the big moment, in the big stage, in front of a room. And I think that was clear all the way from that rookie talent show.
Yep.
So any other interviews stand out to you?
The Lamar one that we did.
We've had him a few times.
The most recent one after he signed his contract, I thought it was particularly good and how he opened up about that and what that meant to him. And Lamar, he's great. And I felt like that interview after what had transpired with the contract and the weight of all that and just, he just really kind of opened up for us, and I thought that was a good one.
I thought that was good. I would go back and check out the first interview that we did with Lamar. This was his rookie season; wasn't even the starter yet. We talked about his background, his family, the combine process, the people that suggested like wanting him to be
the Vikings, wasn't it?
I think it was the Chargers. Talking about
Chargers,
wanting him to play running back or to work out a receiver, all that stuff. We talked about all that stuff, and it was it was Lamar's a rookie, and it was pretty insightful just to get to know him a little bit, how he operates, how he ticks. I thought that was good. I've also enjoy the interviews that we've done with DaCosta, especially around draft. Like those have been really insightful. Learned a lot about our prospects, our players, the process. So those have been a lot of fun as well. But
500 episodes.
500 episodes is a lot. And, I think the other thing too that I've enjoyed is like I think it's been awesome the way that we've been able to connect with fans literally across the world. Like we love getting emails. We get emails from fans all across the world. You can email us at the lounge at ravens.nfl.net. Whether it's England, Iceland, South Africa, like all Australia, we've literally got emails all across the world, and I think that's been awesome to see.
Yeah, well, when we had the lounge episode in England, when we went over there last time, and spoiler alert, it's happening again.
Yes.
We're coming back, going to do one with fans live in a pub.
Yep.
It's
more details to come.
More details to come, but that's going to be sweet. That was a highlight.
Yeah.
That was a very fun experience. And Garrett, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
500 more?
You're terrible at drafts. You're terrible at drafts. That's really been actually the highlight for me. Has been when I've skunked you.
Yeah, it hasn't happened. You can probably remember all the times.
Many times. Too many to remember. But it's been a pleasure, buddy. Yeah, 500 more. You think we got it in us?
We'll see.
Until the walkers.
We'll be with Tucker.
Lounge
we'll be with Tucker. Exactly. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back with you again soon.